What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Route 9 Production Podcast. This is number 7. Today, I am Sean, joined by
Tyler.
And Brad.
And tonight, we're also broadcasting live on Twitch. We have a special person helping us out tonight with the broadcast behind the scenes. She won't be seen or heard, but she will be noticed. Her name is Chelsea. She's Tyler's lovely fiance. And she's going to be moderating the Twitch chat for us tonight during the broadcast. So yeah, we're just going to roll right into things. First topic I think we should talk about is IGN, right? We were discussing that earlier tonight, how frustrated we are with it. We try to organize a show, believe it or not, before we actually get on and do this thing. And sometimes it works out, and more often than not, lately we've been kind of just going off the cuff and just kind of improvising things because some of these places, these major gaming news outlets, if you want to call them that, let us down. And we go to them for sources of information, for topics and things for the show, because where else would you go, you know? IGN is probably the most prominent one that you would think of right off the bat, right? I mean, can you name your top 3 gaming websites?
I really just use IGN and GameSpot for the most part.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think IGN, GameSpot, Kotaku. It used to be Joystick was really good, and then I think AOL owned Joystick, and they shut it down for whatever reason. But Joystick used to be actually a really good place to get, like, that was one of the first, like, cheat codes, all that kind of stuff. Got it from there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on with them. Like, IGN, you know, we were talking about in particular, we went there to look up some gaming stories, and it was like, movie, TV show, movie. I was like, come on, man, we need some gaming news for the podcast. Really wasn't giving us anything. Kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's still the same shit. Well, it's not even just movies now. I think there's one on there posted like 3 to 6 hours ago. What did it say? Oh, this underwear can trap your farts. It's just like, you know, it's
That was
like,
their top
it's not
headline.
even about like a comic book character, a superhero or something. It's about underwear. What is that doing on IGN at all?
It had a picture of a hot chick with no top on, back to the camera, with like these little bikini bottoms on. They said, this underwear traps your farts.
Yeah, it's right here. It says 5 hours, 30 minutes ago. This underwear will absorb your fart.
Yeah, you know.
Shreddy's underwear promises to stop the stink.
That's nice.
Like, I'm sure some video game came out with DLC in the today or something like.
That's the difference. If that was a flash game where you're like trapping the farts, that's different. That belongs on AGN, but it's like you can't call yourself a gaming network, like gaming news network, and just your top story be about trapping farts in underwear. Like, I mean, it is what it is, but I don't know. I think it speaks to the times as well. Like, we are still in that summer slump for video games. It happens every year. And it's just this drought where you have tons of games comms, you know, lots of news on new games coming out. But like we have talked about before, kind of all happens in one big burst. Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, nothing between now and October, September, when these games actually start to launch. And we're just sitting in that lull of like, not a lot to talk about, guys, because it's kind of coming past. We got really excited for 1 week, and now it's just like, you know, anything that comes out between now and September that's not a AAA title is just going to get shit all over. And I think that's probably the biggest problem. IGN's probably sitting here. If anyone from IGN listens to this broadcast or watches the replay on YouTube, they're going to be like, we know. We know exactly what you're talking about. And I'm sorry we did a fart story as our big news deal of the day. But yeah.
I don't even use GameSpot anymore for the same reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for one, their website is harder to navigate.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all.
Ridiculous.
But IGN is no better.
No.
And every once in a while, I'm like, is it just the app that I'm using or something? You know, is the website better? It's not. It's the exact same thing.
What's the one you use the most, Brad?
It's the same too, GameSpot or IGN.
Yeah.
Normally it's IGN first, and then if I can't find anything there, I flick over to GameSpot. But
Yeah.
I always look through IGN, have a good look around first. But they're pretty much exactly the same. You see a lot of the stories coming out pretty close together, and It's like they're coming from the same source, like they're getting it from at the same time. So
Yeah, and that's actually kind of like the easiest way to confirm a rumor. Like anytime that I've heard a
yeah,
rumor about a game, I go, all right, IGN has it on their page, and Kotaku has it on their page, and GameSpot has it on their page, so this is legit. Like all three of these major outlets are reporting the same story with no kind of contradiction to the intel or whatnot. So it's like that kind of makes it more reliable to me. Doesn't make it true by
yeah.
any means, but they could
The
all have the
other one
same
I do,
source.
yeah, the other one I do try to, if I'm looking up something that I want to know something, I want to know about something, I look for Forbes now as well. If any kind of article that's got Forbes written on it, that's written by someone from there, I normally
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah.
They seem to be right on.
I was going to bring that up because it's not, it seems to be like when I search something, I'll find a Forbes article about it and I'll be like, damn, yeah, that's right on point. That's nice.
Yeah,
But I've never gone to Forbes.com.net, whatever their main URL is, to even
yeah, same
see
here.
if they have a game section, like a game news section.
I'm sure they do,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Well,
how
I'm
long
on
has it been
right now
around?
and I can't see it.
Been around for a while. I've been following stories or catching stories by them for a while, I think.
About
Oh,
games?
here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, there is a game section actually.
Yeah,
You
I've
go to
cited
Forbes,
it.
if you click on technology, then games, and it
Yeah,
comes up.
I've cited it multiple times on the show before as a legitimate news. Because I mean, I did comment to that before, where it was like, I'm glad that Forbes is getting into gaming because they're a legitimate news source.
Mm.
It was the same as ABC News writing columns about games and things like that. It's like kind of bolstering the gaming universe and as a media that's legit now. It's like they put it alongside television and movies in their entertainment columns and things like that to say like it's a platform, it's an art form, just as legitimate as movies and television. It's a source of entertainment for many people in America that aren't just 14-year-olds. We're all over the age of 21 in this room and on camera. So it's like that demographic is, it's wide open for video games. There's people of all ages playing games now that are interested in it. So it's a viable form of entertainment. It's a viable form of, writing for news companies and stuff. Like it's worth spending the time on a report. I mean, we're doing this right now.
Yeah. But the thing that Forbes has going is they're not just a gaming site. So the reason why they seem to have more valid stories all the time than IGN and GameSpot is because they don't necessarily need to have a new article today about a video game or whatever.
No.
They have an entire website that's been around, or it's been a company, I don't even know for how many years, but gaming to me in Forbes seems to be pretty new. Like I've never personally looked at a Forbes article, but I've never even seen like a link for one when I've searched for stuff, honestly, or maybe I'm just not paying attention to it.
Yeah,
But
so like every time I
GameSpot
look
is
up,
only gaming. That's what it started as. So you think
It's GameSpot.
it is GameSpot. It is IGN. Like I used to come to IGN to only see gaming news, and that's what it used to be. But now it's like, I guess that's probably not enough for them to stay afloat on, like now when there's the drought, they have to post something. But I feel like there's
Yeah.
got to be some other news in gaming that they could post. Like, I don't feel like they have many reviews. I mean, I don't search IGN through the app, but I feel like they could have way more reviews of games, even if they're not AAA titles. At least you're posting something about a game that somebody might want to read.
Well, I scrolled down on their main page, and within their top 10 of recent articles, they had a title headlined 30 more hours with Fallout 3, a game from 2007,
Yeah.
2008. We're talking about a game that's 7 or 8 years old, and that's what they were reporting on. That's how desperate they are. It's like we paid somebody on our staff to play 30 more hours on their account of Fallout 3, and then they came back and they said the results, it's still good. Like, duh, no shit, it was game of the year, blah, blah, like, you're not telling us, this isn't news, you're not reporting on anything, you're just kind of stretching for shit, and it's like, I feel for them. I know how bad the summer is as a gamer. This isn't my first go round, with next gen gaming in summertime. There's just jack shit that comes out. Nobody releases anything in the summertime, it seems. Like, you may get one sleeper title to kind of rise up and gain some some foothold in the in the market, and then that'll be like the best game of the year, right? Because it was literally the only thing everyone had to play. Mm-hmm. And I kind of remember Borderlands being one of those games that snuck up on me, and I was like, what the fuck is Borderlands? Oh, that's that cartoon, that one that looks like a comic strip, right? And then I played it and I was like, whoa, where has this been all my life? Like, when did you come out? And I think it might have been one of those sleeper summer, spring kind of releases where I was like not paying attention to what was dropping or anything, and then I played it because of boredom, and it was like, oh shit, yeah, nice, this game's cool. And then all my friends started playing it, or I had friends that played it already, and we're like, yeah, just had nobody to play the game with. You want to play? And we played this shit out of some Borderlands. It was an awesome game. But yeah, I don't know. IGN, just stick to games, man. Like, if I wanted movie news or TV news, I would go to like Entertainment Weekly. I would go to the entertainment section of CNN.com, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, Fandango. All the actual movie outlets, the movie critic outlets, the movie news reporting outlets to get my movie news. I don't give a shit what IGN has to say about the new Ant-Man movie. No. I don't care. Now, if they made a game, I want to hear what IGN staff has to say about Ant-Man the video game. But as far as the movie goes, you're just like, you don't know any more about movies than I do, No. Like, you're a video game company or reporting company. Your job for your site is to report video game news. You want to branch out into other forms of entertainment, good for you, but don't put it on your main page of IGN, I guess is what we're looking at. It's like, it's frustrating to go for video game news and you get a bunch of news about TV and movies and chicks farting into new kinds of underwear. So, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, just don't make it 90% of what you're posting at the time. Mm-hmm. You may have to dig, but there's something else out there.
Right.
That I'm sure you could post about a video game.
Right. Well, with that, I think we got our point across.
Nah, man. Devote the whole hour to it.
I had the whole hour to chicks farting in underwear, and that's not gaming news. So, let's see. We had a request from Aunt Taddy on the Twitch chat. He's asking us if we could make our own game. And Brad, you can absolve yourself from this conversation if you want to. If you want to chime in, that's fine. We don't have to talk about it too long, but it is something that I was like, I would love to talk about this because I think it's very interesting and everyone has a chance to weigh in on it. If you could make your own video game, what would you make it? Like, how would you make it? What style? What kind of characters, that kind of thing. Like, if someone handed you basically $100 million for a budget today and said, go make a video game, what are you going to come back with?
Yeah, I'll be pretty conflicted myself. Like, that's me.
There's a lot of...
Yeah, there's lots of different genres that I want to make.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
That's the hardest thing, right?
I've sat here with this notepad right here. Writing pages.
Why is it all stuck together?
Pages, because that's still the other one. That's not actually helping me. Writing pages of just plots, not even stories, just like what I would like, without even getting into detail of characters and stuff like that. And there would have to be 20 different versions of shit in there that are not even the same, from things being in outer space to survival to like World War I shooters type things, like there's so many different things that I would like to do. I just can't wrap my head around what exactly I want to do.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing.
I do know what genre mine would be, at least. I know it would be to some extent an RPG, an open world game for sure. I know that. I definitely don't want to make like a first person shooter or anything like that. I don't want to make another Call of Duty or Battlefield Imposter or something.
Let's see if we can do like a pick 3 kind of thing to narrow things down a little bit for you, because at least like what type of game you want to do. So let's go with a setting, right? Would you want to do your typical settings of like fantasy medieval RPG, like a World of Warcraft kind of, Neverwinter kind of, RuneScape kind of thing?
Yeah.
Would you, or you have choices.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll listen to them all.
So that's that one, which it's probably what I kind of know you a little bit. I think you might want to have on that. Or would you want to do like the post-apocalyptic Fallout kind of, where it's like a modern setting with some futuristic elements, like a Mass Effect, that kind of science fiction route, like EVE Online, the Star Citizen, where it's like a futuristic setting, kind of sci-fi fantasy. Nah, you're just like
No.
all in on the medieval,
I really don't.
classic fantastical issues.
Yeah, I really hate even like just like what almost feels what I would call, I guess, like a steampunk vibe. Like I hate the old feel with like futuristic elements to it, kind of like kind of like a Dishonored. Like
Gas
everyone's
lights
still-
with electrical generators on them for some reason.
or just weird shit. Like
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling. So no, it would definitely be more tilted towards like a Skyrim vibe. Like there can be like otherworldly elements to it, like I guess like the elves or like dark elves, Nordic. You know how there's all the different
Yeah.
factions. I don't care if that's weird, but I don't like it when it feels like futuristic at all.
Yeah.
That's why I don't really like Borderlands too much, or even Fallout to an extent.
I got you. Brad, do you know like a time frame for your game that you would put in, like a setting? Would you want to do sci-fi fantasy or like old world?
That's what I was trying to like touch on before. Like I've seriously written plots for both.
Yeah.
Like for nearly everything that my mind has thought. Like I've even written like 2 different scenarios in one night. You know, like from like an MMO type base that's futuristic to a shooter that's old, and like there's so many different things. But
where you struggle is you got like all these different types of games in your mind of what you want to do, and not necessarily trying to like put all of those ideas down into one, right? Where it's like you do want to come out with the best thing you could think of, but they don't necessarily have to completely be made up of these different components out in front of you, right? Like that's what you're trying to say. Like it's hard for you to narrow it down.
Yeah,
but
but
just
like,
one game.
It is like that, but at the same time, I just don't want to make. I just want to make like 4 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how it always seems. That's how my mind is working. I just want to make so many at a time, and I just can't decide on exactly which one I would start. Like I'd actually vote to the thing, because you can't work on 4 at a time. So I don't know which one to start the voting by time to. And like I said, I've still got a couple more months to think about that before I have to start. But at the same time, is how complex do you really want things to be?
Yeah, I think a lot of that would also have to do with like, I mean, obviously, I set this off with the idea of having $100 million U.S. budget. You're going to be able to hire a lot of people to work under you for that kind of money. So it's like you can be in that perfect role of I am the concept man. It's my idea. Please, please create.
In that mindset, if I had like 100 mil,
No.
honestly, at my disposal to whip up a team and get going, I would really take on Destiny.
No.
I think. I love my shooters. I liked, but I would do it totally different to how they've done it. But like that idea where you're a first-person shooter in an MMO game, I think that's something that I would definitely, if I had 100 mil, that's where I'd be headed. Right. I think that's where my money would be.
Okay.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, this question is hard for me too because I like so many different genres of video games. You know, I mean, I play RPGs, first-person shooters, you know, combat where it's like a combat simulator or just something that's fun, you know. For me, I think I would struggle even with just my point of view for my character. Am I going to make it first person? Am I going to make it third person? You know?
Well,
that's even hard to do.
A few different games now that have both into it. I don't see why any game kind of can't operate as 2. Like, I
Yeah,
could even see you walking around in Call of Duty as a third-person shooter if you really preferred it.
yeah.
You know, like it can work. Like, there's no real benefits in why you couldn't, and why you like. There's no real like if you're going to play as a third person, you're going to be giving yourself any benefits from instead of playing in first person.
Yeah.
Well,
And I just think,
you can peek corners really easily in third person. That's why most first person
true.
shooters don't do it, is so you can't just stand behind the wall and just, look right and look around the corner and never have
Yeah.
to expose yourself.
There is a field of view difference when you're talking about
Yeah,
going
true.
from first person to third person, where it's like it expands that field of view to like at least, even in third person, you have that buffer between the back of your character's hitbox and the bottom of the screen that you can see. Now imagine somebody being behind you ready to knife you in the back and you briefly even see that person. Where in first person, that's not available whatsoever.
Yeah.
So you get that even if it is 0.25 milliseconds to react, that's the 0.25 you don't get in first person at all because you don't see that at all on your screen. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, going back to the topic of like what kind of game would I create? Man, dude, it would have to be some combination of first person shooter RPG. Like I would take the best of both worlds. Like I like Borderlands, I like Fallout, I like those kinds of games. Now, often what's missing in those kinds of games is a stable, strong multiplayer, which I think is important to longevity for a video game. It always has been. I mean, you can't just solely expect somebody to play a solo player, like a solo. What am I looking for? Non-multiplayer involved, campaign-oriented, storyline-oriented game for 6 years straight. I mean, there are people that have done it, but the strength of that franchise hasn't always been that there's not going to be another iteration coming. You know what I mean? Like a Halo community, a Call of Duty community would still exist. It wouldn't thrive, but it would still exist if they never made another Halo or Call of Duty game. There would still be people playing it. I would say more in that kind of setting than just a Fallout setting where it's like you only have one single player setting to exist in. There's not going to be any more updates or expansions. I think that community would fall off faster than a multiplayer community that's left on the servers to go and just keep playing. Like they would still have that, we got to compete in this game. This is my favorite game. They would keep playing it to compete, and that would keep the game going. Like there's more sustainability for a game with multiplayer and competitiveness because there's going to be that competitive nature involved to keep it going. But I have yet to see that like combined element of RPG elements, multiplayer elements, all in the same game, and seen it actually work successfully and maintain itself throughout the years with like minimal maintenance and updates.
Well, I was going to throw this in there too. Over the last maybe 2 years, before 2 years ago, like I was very much into multiplayer only games, and I have pretty much gone away the PvP type of games. I like playing with other people, like as in a co-op game, versus like PvE. You know what I mean? Like I'd much rather be sitting there playing in a co-op style game with me friends against like the computer for hours on hours on end. And one of the things I'm trying to get at is for me, if I'll use Destiny as an example. If I made that, I would take out the multiplayer and have an update like every, just say, 4 to 6 weeks, and there'd be a new raid in there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and just keep expanding on that and on that. That's for me. That's where I am at right now, and that's what I want to start. I would really want it to stick to. I'm kind of really over this whole multiplayer, so like the MLG type things, like the competitive and that. I just don't think it's there anymore, and I just don't find it interesting for myself. And a lot of people that I've spoke to have also come across like that too.
Yeah, like
So
they had the
I'm
Halo
just
champion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just looking for like that game that is like Borderlands is kind of like that. You can sit there and play it for hours and hours on end, but after a couple months, you're back to square one because the content doesn't get updated.
Right.
I'm just waiting for that solid PvE game that is just keep getting updating and updating and update. Like, well, not updated, but like they're adding more stuff constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly. Like,
Yeah. I think
That's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'd like to develop one day too.
I think Neverwinter does an actually pretty good job of that. Would you agree?
Yeah.
But the problem
Yeah.
is that kind of it hits its own limits in different areas. Not with content, because they're constantly putting out things for you to do. But it's just like where Neverwinter hits a wall is you're kind of like, I'm just repeating a process in a different area kind of thing. Well, they're not really adding new elements to the game, except for whenever they release new modules like every 6 months. But they do try to keep that player, like they keep dangling the carrot as it is, like give you a reason to keep playing with these different goals to accomplish and things like that. They do add in kind of new areas to play and explore and everything, which is neat. But it doesn't last as long as what they expect it to in reality for the player. Like I burned through it in a week, and they're like, "Shit, that was supposed to last them like a month and a half," and they're done with it in a week. But no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, as far as like before, the model was longevity exists in a multiplayer environment, right? For these games. And I'm with you now. It's not there anymore.
Well, the problem with Neverwinter, it's not just like the content that's coming out. It's that MMO feel. Like it doesn't, like, I guess the way I would make the game would be kind of like what you're talking about, kind of like a Neverwinter where there's raids, you're playing with other people. But I want it to be a game that's like captivating. Like I want there to be like a legitimate storyline to it. I want to play Skyrim, but with other people. I don't want to play Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
Neverwinter is fun and like it's interesting, and they do come out with content. I know there's a lot more of it on the PC than the Xbox One still, I'm pretty sure. But like it doesn't like captivate you. Like you don't have to keep playing necessarily to like, dude, I gotta know what happens.
Yeah.
Or like
there's not much of
it
a
doesn't
story
suck you into the game. You either want to devote the hours to play it, or you just kind of like fizzle out of it because it just.
Yeah, it sucks with Neverwinter. I know exactly what you're talking about. I had that feeling, I remember, because you start the game off and there's a clear-cut defined arch nemesis, right? Valendra, the big skeleton lady. And you meet her in this big dragon at the beginning of the game, and then you never see her again. Like, at least on the Xbox version that we've played, you never see her again.
Well, and like at least in some expansions of WoW, like in vanilla, it didn't feel like that. It was the exact same way. You just hit accept on the quest. You went, you did it, you killed the monsters, or you gathered the whatever off the ground, and then you turned it in and you picked up another one. You never read what it was. There's no real lore behind it. But then they got it to where you had to do these quests, and they started adding cinematics to the quest and like actually adding backstory to everything. Everything you did, followed up, led to like the climax when you reach max level, and then you could go and fight, that boss in the max level raids and stuff like that. But Neverwinter feels like vanilla WoW to me. They tell you to do something, you do it, it's over. You don't really necessarily know why you do it. It's just you're just grinding through it to get it over with, like to get to those raids. Or there's no real storyline to it unless you really want to look into it to get the storyline for it.
And that's what I think a bit of a problem is with a lot of the games that have came out with even within the last 5 years. For me, there's no immersive story.
Yeah.
Like I can't think of the last real game that I can think that I was really immersed in the story in.
Batman?
I can't, sorry?
Batman?
Yeah, all right.
I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying, like,
all right.
confirmation that wasn't a rich story. I just need to know because I haven't played it yet.
You did. No, I couldn't. There was certain missions in Batman where I didn't want to get off, and I had to do the next part. Like I had to do it, and then it just compounded onto that one because then I had to do that one too. So yeah, all right. The two last Batmans, all right, you got me there. They've been out in the last 5 years. I forget about that, but I can't think of anything else besides that.
Yeah,
that's the truth. Well,
it seems
even
like
Elder Scrolls didn't hold me in line for too long. I
Yeah.
played it for a week, I think, and I was like, man, I'm bored now.
Yeah.
You're talking about online?
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's that same MMO feel.
I think that's
It doesn't suck you in.
I think that's where you're like, I know that the game companies out there are scrambling to make it happen. I think that was the goal that Destiny had, and they fell short. Was that you have to sacrifice rich storylines. Now, for some reason, and games used to do it in the past. The Halo series did it really well. Gears of War did it really well. You got to have your rich storyline with, intricate plot movements and very developed characterization and things, and there was an arc to the story, and it was well written, well composed. And you also get to have your very well made and meticulously calculated multiplayer aspects to the game versus multiplayer, right? Like the best multiplayer games franchises out there still in my mind are like Gears of War, Battlefield, Call of Duty, and Halo. And to me, the two that always won on story were Halo and Gears of War, as far as the way the characters were written. You had a clear defined protagonist, clear defined antagonist, and the supporting characters around them made sense and supported the main character very well. Fucking who doesn't know about Master Chief, and really who doesn't know about Marcus Phoenix if you ever owned an Xbox. Those characters are flushed out. They also had two of the most successful multiplayers on Xbox systems of all time. And that was like the sweet spot. And it seems like for whatever reason, for the past 5 years, like Brad's talking about in gaming, in my opinion, where I look at it is that like you either got one or the other now. You either get an expansive multiplayer experience out of a game with no real detail, attention paid to the story and the campaign side. It's just kind of like, we're selling you a multiplayer or a multiplayer game with an ancillary campaign. It doesn't matter. Or the other way around, if you want a really rich and expansive universe as far as story goes, we're not going to give you multiplayer at all. We're not just even going to try. Or we're going to put some little broke ass, like Assassin's Creed try to do it. Like we're going to give you some half-ass multiplayer just to kind of sell you some more shit with the game to keep you occupied and keep you playing to the next iteration of the franchise. And there's no... I don't know anybody in my friend group who's like, dude, did you see that play the other day on IGN that Assassin's Creed played? That dude jumping off the tower and assassinating two dudes at once? Dude, no, I've never seen that. You don't go to MLG.com and see Assassin's Creed top plays of the week.
Well, the last Assassin's Creed didn't even have that kind of multiplayer.
Right.
They got rid of the PvP and only did PvE.
Yeah.
And actually, I enjoyed that more. I hate, like I said, their half-ass multiplayer game types.
Right.
Like, honestly, I had more fun just me and Zach just fucking scaling buildings, jumping roof to roof. We'd come across, a group of guards on the way to the next co-op mission or something, and just be like, what way could we try and kill these guys differently?
Yeah.
Or something, like, we'll smoke bomb them first, and then you'll fucking snipe them in the head or don't, like, it was enjoyable for a while, but they didn't come out with any new missions anytime soon, so you played it for a week and it was fun for a week, but then you had done it all and it was time to get back on what you were playing before.
Yep. Yep. I mean, I don't know. I guess to wrap up what I have to say about this topic, as far as the kind of game that I would make myself, it would be a first-person RPG driven game, story intensive game. Like, I want a nice epic fucking story back in video games. I've talked about it ad nauseum now on this show. I want my goddamn storylines.
And a long one.
I
don't want to beat it in 8 hours.
No, fuck
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
I don't want games I would rent. I want games that I would buy. And I would support this game too. I mean, we're talking like what Brad was talking about with the constant. I don't know if I could live up to 4 weeks, but I would at least promise content every 3 months. I think that's fair. And large amounts of content, like General Knox size content, for those of you who know the reference, the Borderlands reference. In my mind, the best expansion DLC for an Xbox game ever created was the Secret Armory of General Knox for Borderlands, the first Borderlands on Xbox 360. That was truly another game in itself, added on to an already, $59.99 American MSRP that you got for $10, pretty much. And it was amazing. And I would want all of my releases to support my original game to model that and live up to that, because it truly did expand upon the game and make it playable for a very long time. And I would want to have a strong multiplayer presence in it as well, because I do come from that background of competitive multiplayer where it's like it needs to have that aspect as well for longevity and for enjoyability. Like, I would want my game to be on the competitive scene for legitimate reasons. Like, I want there to be pros at my game, and I want it to be strong enough, you know, that fucking it hits LCS style and MLG style, you know. That's what I would want for my game. Trying to balance that, that's the trick. Getting both of those elements with the budget and the people under me to create it, I think that's the trick. I really think that that's what all developers are looking for, right? You got to hit that sweet spot. And for whatever reason, they just kind of err one way or the other. And they think that they have to give up and sacrifice. And the reality situation was 10 years ago, games were doing this. You know? We were getting our rich storylines. We were getting our 3 months DLC. We were getting our kick-ass multiplayers and watching our pros every week and play it. So that's what I would do. Myself, that's what I would do. That's the game I would make. Like, the topic I don't think would matter. As long as I could hit those elements, I think the setting, the characters, whatever, wouldn't matter. As long as I could make those underlying elements occur, the everything else would be just frosting on the cake.
Yeah, like, I guess my ideal game would be somewhat the same. Mine would be third person, though. RPG. Close to a Skyrim or like a Witcher when it comes to the storyline. As in, like, you want to keep playing it. And when it comes to PvP, I mean, I don't really know how you would structure it around that. Like, I want the whole storyline to be able to be co-op, as in, like, you know, if you can help a dude out on the mission if you're on the same mission or whatever, but when it comes to integrating those worlds into one giant world, I think that would be pretty hard to do. Like a GTA 5 online, but that's like Skyrim, but it has a storyline in it. It's just, that'd be super hard to pull off. Mm-hmm. And then you would still have to have your multiplayer in some kind of like matchmaking system. I don't think you can ever have a game like that to where, you know, like there's PvP zones over here to where you can go in there and you can get killed, or, you know, people don't want to walk out of their house and then get murdered and then lose all their stuff on them or something like that. Like, I guess on GTA you just respawn, you don't lose anything, but still you don't want to get killed while you're, you know, in the middle of an intense mission, or I don't know. That my ideal game, I feel like, is not possible probably at the time, or just nobody wants to try and take it on.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think unfortunately we still live in that gotta catch Call of Duty era. It's like we're just trying to sell games that, there's like two mindsets, it feels like to me, where it's like we're either going to make a game that chases the coattails of Call of Duty as far as monetary success, or we're just going to do whatever the fuck we want and hope that it sells. Right? And there's still success on both sides, right? The games are still selling well, and I think that's the good thing, is that the market is still strong. There's no such thing right now as a video game recession. Like, there aren't game companies just going belly up for no fucking reason. Like, now it's just a pass-fail, I think. Like, if your game company fails and your AAA title production house, like, say Bungie, for whatever reason, tomorrow goes, we're filing bankruptcy. Yeah. Why would that happen? Because you made a bad game. And you invested way too much into a bad game. So your departure from the whole infrastructure of gaming at that point as a AAA title producer is a good thing, because we're clearing you out. Like, you failed. You fucked up. Your game, you know, which it's not true. It's a fallacy. It's a fantasy, because Bungie, Destiny has sold millions of copies. It's sustained itself. It's, you know, whatever. It's a success in the eyes of many. But yeah, I mean,
in the eyes of the accountant.
Yeah. The stakes, and that's what fucking matters, obviously. Like, it's about how much money you make, not how good your game is anymore. And a lot of that is up to the consumer. Like, I've said it many times in the broadcast. I'll say it many times in the future as well. You vote with your dollars as consumers now. And especially in video game markets where there's pre-sales, like, the only other thing I can think of is, like, yeah, you can pre-order, you know, like a DVD copy of a movie or something, but that it doesn't really make sense to me why you would do that. Pre-ordering movie tickets, I guess, so that you avoid a sellout in your local theater, that makes sense to me. Pre-ordering games, though, is so just...
You're talking about a dollar amount, too.
I know it's a different dollar amount, but it's like you don't know what you're getting. You just don't know what you're getting. The sacrifice that you're making, especially if you're pre-ordering like the $120 version of the game, the Legendary or whatever you want to call it, Collector's Edition, it's such a gamble. Such a gamble. You just don't know what you're going to get. And that bothers me.
I feel like with some games, you know what you're going to get to an extent. Like when I pre-ordered Battlefield, I knew I was going to get a pretty legitimate multiplayer. I knew there would be no storyline for the most part. Like, there's like typically some co-op missions and a little bit of a storyline. Call of Duty, you're going to get a fucking crazy storyline where you do ridiculously retarded things. And it'll be interesting, and the multiplayer is going to fucking blow as always. You know, like, I knew when I bought The Witcher that it was going to be epic. You know what I mean? I didn't pre-order it, but, like, you know it's going to be good, but you also know that once you beat the storyline, it's over. Like, there's no, like... So, like, with the big titles, I feel like you pretty much know, because they just follow the same pattern. Like, now, I guess... they could just add so much into the game and change it so much that it sucks. But for the most part, to me, the last few Call of Duties seem almost like exactly the same.
Well, I guess
to an extent, just with maybe like one extra retarded gun in there, one other perk that's just like the craziest stupid rolling spike ball or something that I don't know.
I mean, overall, you kind of know what to expect. What I was going to say before is the biggest thing with pre-ordering now is that you can end up in a scenario where you spend $100 on a game to get it day one. Well, actually ahead of day one if you want to count midnight or whatever, however you do your pre-orders, or you show up to the game store and get it, or you download it at midnight when it's available first. But nowadays, you don't even know that when you download that game or you bring it home from GameStop and you put it in your console or your computer, it's even going to fucking work.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm talking about, where you never know. Like, you don't even know that it's going to fucking work.
Yeah.
That drives me crazy.
Like,
and people are pouring their money out of their pockets when you could have just waited and said, oh, shit. Like, I still have $60 in my pocket from Batman Arkham Knight on PC. Because I didn't jump the gun and pre-order it. I would be pissed at myself if I'd pre-ordered that game and it didn't work.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it and it worked.
No, it worked for you. You were one of the lucky ones. But I'm just saying, like, if I'd have been one of the ones, like, I think that I still made the right decision, because if I would have been one of the unlucky ones that it didn't work at all for, I would have been so fucking mad, and I would have only had myself to blame because I was part of that problem. Like, when you pre-order a game, you're giving pre-ordered success to these games that haven't earned it yet. They haven't earned it yet. Like, that's the thing. Like, they need to build their cells up as they go, not get all of their cells before they even release their fucking game. You're giving them pre-success. That's the only way to say it. Like, you're making a game successful before it even drops. And especially if it's like the first iteration of any kind of franchise or any kind of game, like it's a first in a series or not even a planned series of IPs, and you're just pre-ordering off the hype because they have great commercials. It's like all you're saying is, I'm paying you $60 because I really like the commercial. I don't even know what the game is yet, or if it even works.
That's how it was with Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
I thought or Destiny. Like, I planned on getting Destiny, but then I didn't buy an Xbox One in time.
Yeah.
And so I started watching Sean play it, and I watched some YouTube videos on it, and I was like, I'll see.
Yeah.
I'll see if I'll get Destiny. And then I heard enough from other people from work or Sean or whatever, where it's just like, it's just a grind at this point. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Like, but about a fucking billion people pre-ordered Destiny because it was going to be the most epic game of all time.
Yeah, we were fooled.
Best marketing team ever.
Yeah, Activision has a lot of money. Turns out they do a really good job at selling video games. We haven't learned that from the past 10 years of Call of Duty now. Like, ugh, it's so disgusting how they grease the wheels and the way they do it. I mean, and that's just it.
Well, now it just seems like the smaller titles are the ones that typically come out in force.
Yeah.
Nowadays, like, the Steam community, I feel like, is stronger than ever.
I agree.
Nowadays, all these smaller titles are selling, and they're not even complete games. And they're doing amazing for selling you not even a complete game. And then these huge titles who spend millions of dollars on marketing and all that shit, they can't even come out with a complete game. That's what pisses me off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mind-numbing. And I think that the reason why the Steam community has grown and perpetuated itself the way that it does is that when you get on like Xbox.com or the Xbox dashboard of a day and you see like new releases and stuff, it's maybe like 4 to 10 a week, if that. Like, that's a pretty strong release week for an Xbox update, right? Like new games coming out. You get on Steam and it's like every goddamn day there's 10 new games. You know, it's just a constant influx of new content for PC.
Yeah, or they're on sale, or like, yeah. I'm tired. I don't even buy many AAA titles anymore. Come to think of it, the last one I bought was The Witcher, and before that, Battlefield 4, which has been out for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
GTA 5. There's been plenty of big titles that have come out since then, and I don't even bother anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I get more enjoyment out of a $15 Steam game nowadays than I do.
Did you buy GTA 5 on PC, or?
I did not buy GTA 5 on PC, and the only reason why is, for one, I did pre-order GTA 5. I think we've actually talked about this.
Yeah.
And maybe I just didn't do my research. In fact, I'm sure I didn't, but I don't ever really remember them saying there will be absolutely no multiplayer for a week up until either right before or the day after, I think it was. And that was one thing that really pissed me off.
Yeah.
You know, like, I bought that game, literally, me and Zach, all we wanted to do was get home by 1 and start playing, just do some co-op missions, but that wasn't a reality.
Yeah, it was our whole thing too.
And I bought it.
What all of us did. We had like a group of 5, I think.
And I don't like how they did it. I feel like they did it really dirty. Like, you release it on the 360. That's fine. But then you don't release it on the One. And then when you do release it on the One, you add first person and all this other stuff. So everyone that just bought it on a 360, that probably also has an Xbox One, they're like, you know what? You can have that too. You know, go ahead and buy it on Xbox One. But then it's going to come out on the PC, and you're going to be able to do all this awesome modding, and you know you're going to want to do all that stuff. So go ahead and buy a third fucking copy of that game. And that's why I'm not buying it on the PC, because I have it on the 360 and the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
not buying it a third time, Rockstar. I'm sorry.
I never bought it a second time.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that it, like, I think I talked about this before, either in private conversation with you guys or on the show before, and we kind of discussed this whole thing of buying games twice, right? Like, the reason why games are still on disc, period, is because there are those talking heads, analysts that work for these large gaming companies and publishers that say it is not in our best interest, even though it costs us more to pay for the manufacturing of hard discs, physical discs, right? That is still an out-of-pocket expense for them to spend on the publishing of their game to make physical hard discs, even though that's not like viable anymore. In the digital age, everything can be downloaded. The reason why that exists is because one statistic, and that is the lost and stolen or broken category for physical disc owners. If I am of the person that I like to have my shit on disc, which I used to be, and my disc gets broken, I got to go out and buy a new one. Now, if they don't make discs anymore, they lose that purchase again. Like, they're basically banking on selling to a certain percent of the gaming population that their game multiple times. It's the same thing now with these, like, okay, so we're losing out on that aspect. Now we'll release it on this platform, and then this platform, and then this platform. Like all these games that are now kind of like selling another 33% of their copies now because they got like the HD remastered version on the updated console kind of shit that's going on, you know, like you want to talk about like Master Chief Collection, this Gears of War 1 reboot, you know, it's happening on the PS4 as well, where they're updating titles, doing the HD reworks, or they give it a new release on PC. You know, they do a PC port for it years later after the franchise is already pretty much dead. You know, it's just another way to make money. And the guys are selling it because they always give it some kind of boost. And the always the tug with GTA has been the mods, right? Like you can make it snow in Liberty City, or you can have Liberty City underwater, or you can be Batman and fly around, you can be Superman and fly around, you can do all these cool things. Like I think GTA actually on Xbox 360 did like their winter thing, right, where they had it where it snowed in Los Santos, it snowed in Los Angeles, and you could throw snowballs at each other and stuff.
Yeah, it did for like a week.
Yeah, that was
like
that was a mod on GTA 4 on computer, and then they were just like, yeah, well, it's successful for them, so we'll do it to drum up some notoriety on our current game. I think this was before it was available. It was probably getting ready to go over to PC or Xbox One, the updated version for Xbox One with heists and shit. Yeah, it's. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy the one for PC. I didn't buy the one for Xbox One. I still own the one for 360 that I haven't played in a year because they just took too goddamn long. I wanted heists, and it never came for me. By the time that they released heists, I was already playing so many other games that none of my friends was playing GTA on 360 anymore, which I owned. The ones that were playing heists bought it for the Xbox One, and I was just like, I'm not going to spend another $60 to play heists. I paid $60 already to play heists.
Yeah.
It was too late for me.
That's what I keep telling Zach. He's like that. He's like y'all's friend, that one Destiny player that still tries to tell you about it. He's that one guy that's still just playing GTA. Like, you want to get on GTA? You can do some heists. I'm like, no. You want to play the 4,000th game of League of Legends? I'll do that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not playing a fucking heist. I've only done one part of the first heist since they've come out. I don't even want to play them now, like Rockstar. It took so long. You released them. I still don't even want to play them. Like,
right.
It is just, it's done.
It's up there as one of the top 10 fuck-ups of video games for the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And they so tried to sweep it under the carpet, too. Like, I'll give them credit for having every single update to the game, DLC-wise, being free. But I don't think that was planned. I think that was done out of the community crying out for the heists the whole fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
And people saying, look, you got my money, give me my heists.
So you got to give them something, man.
Yeah. So therefore we got like the free rocket launcher for 4th of July with the fireworks in it, and the free truck, and the free sand beach vehicle, the ballistas.
Yeah, they had,
no.
but they had like the beach packs and all.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like all their updates between then and the heists were free. You know, like the Big Spender or whatever it was called. You know, update. Which I don't think those were intended to be that way. Those were probably individually priced at like $4.99 American, is what I can imagine with what you got for those. At least $4.99. You know.
Yeah. There's a decent amount of content in each one of them too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all superficial, and it's a few more cars, or a few more like shitty missions,
right,
you know, in each one of them. But
I would say that Rockstar probably, with their projected earnings on those DLCs, that they probably were paid DLCs to begin with, planned out in their agenda, they probably lost money in the long run from what they projected on GTA 5 than if they had just put out the fucking heists in the first place and multiplayer worked on day one. They gave every player what they asked for and what they paid for initially. Then we would have been paying $5 for the Beach Bum update.
Well, that brings me to the other question that's got me thinking. Does heists work on 360?
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
It does work?
I'm pretty sure that
I would say it does.
Okay.
I
was under the impression that when it first came out that it didn't work on there yet.
No, they released them on the Xbox One before the 360, I thought.
Okay.
which is why a lot of people rushed to get it on Xbox One again. Just because you got to play first person and you got to do heists. Because I remember being on the 360 when they first released, like started to release like the prep for the heist stuff, and all of a sudden that room that you could never get to in your condo all of a sudden was into the war room.
Yeah.
But then I never got to use it. I ended up buying an Xbox One and GTA to play heists and go first person. I'm pretty sure. I can't look that up right now, but
Yeah, whatever.
either way, they fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't touched it. I haven't touched it since probably, let's say the game came out in like September of 2013. I haven't touched it since probably February of 14. I think I put that game down. It's probably actually a little bit later than that because I think I bought my Xbox One in March of 2014. I bought it for Titanfall, and I think that's the last time I played GTA, really. Dabbled a little bit to make some videos that summer.
Yeah,
That was
whenever we
probably
were
it.
trying to
Yeah.
mess with editing and stuff.
When Route 9 was conceived. Yeah. So, I mean, that was really it. And even at that point, we were to the point in the game where it was like, we're just trying to knock people off the tips of mountains with airplanes, make it look funny.
Yeah.
Like, edit in some Wilhelm screams and whatever.
Yeah, you didn't need any more money. You didn't need any new cars. You were just
At that point, you're just fucking around.
doing whatever. Yeah.
Like riding
Which,
the train
I
all the way
mean,
around the map.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed that for a long time.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was
like,
fun.
I truly believe that if they would have come out with Heist, even 3 months after the game released, because I was still
Yeah,
playing it quite
Even
a
within
bit after
6
that.
months.
Yeah, that game would have been huge. And you know what? I would probably still be playing some Heist now. Well, by now they should have had another expansion where it gave you like 2 more new heists or 4 more new heists. But instead, we're still stuck with even the same ones that they released, over a year late. But if they would have come out with them within the first 3 to 6 months, and then come out with another 2 to 4 heists in another 6 months.
Yeah.
That game could still be really big.
Well, see, these are the mistakes that games companies need to learn from, right? And they need to be held accountable for. Is don't guarantee and hype a feature for a video game that is not fucking done for your video game at release. Like, if you have one of your brightest and best come in, which I guarantee happened at Rockstar Studios, some little dude came around the corner and had a panic attack at his cubicle or whatever and went, guys, I don't know how to tell you this, but heists aren't going to happen. And they had to have had that moment for it to be delayed 14 fucking months, right?
Yeah.
Like, there had to be that moment in development where some little dude came out from behind his cubicle and went, oh no, I don't know how to tell you this, but heists just aren't going to be in this game. So don't promote it. And then Rockstar, whoever their publisher is at the time, goes, nah, fuck it. They'll buy it anyway. And we're going to still sell it to them with heists.
It was one of the main selling points. for
Yeah,
that
even
game.
though we have no idea when heists are going to be able to be developed. Like, we're still going to be developing them behind the scenes, and we're just going to flatter them with these free updates until the heists are ready, and then we're going to put out the update that has heists.
And don't sit there telling everyone on their website that it's just around the corner and it turns up 14 months away.
Oh shit, yeah. Like, literally, it was
a
like
big thing.
every 2 months, heists are almost there. Heists are going to be here, and the next update, and the next update, and the next update, and the next update, and then next thing we know, we're like I said, 14 months after release in September of 2013, and still no heists. And then, oh wait, we're gonna put it out on Xbox One now and sell it to you again, so you can get the heists on Xbox One. Like, this, it's just bullshit. But like I said, there's only one way to punish these people, and that's just by not fucking buying the game right off the bat. Wait, get your reviews. There's people out there that make money specifically to tell you how good a game is, and they're pretty good at it. They're called reviewers, and that is their job, is to get early access to these games and current access to the full version of the game to play it for you, so you don't have to spend your money on it and waste your money on it and feel like you got cheated. So rely on those people to give you information to say, yeah, this game is good, or don't buy this game right now. Wait for it to be finished, in 6 months. Because there are people out there that are smart enough to see the game in its current state when they buy it off the shelf, or they get it a week in advance and they go, yeah, the game's not done. At release, it won't be done. So don't buy it until this happens. Save your money and then get your full experience then.
Well, what's your worst case scenario if you don't pre-order it or you don't get it at midnight?
Oh, I don't get my poster, dude.
It's like, well,
I don't get my DLC
with YouTube and stuff now. Well, and that's the problem is
I don't get my Mountain Dew skin, man.
I didn't pre-order Battlefield and I didn't pre-order Witcher or whatever. But you know what? When I went into GameStop, when I went onto Steam and I bought it, it was like, you also got such and such and such, and it's like, oh, okay, so I got it either way.
It's gamer crack. These pre-order bonuses. It's such bullshit.
But it's like with YouTube, even without like credible reviews, like on Forbes or IGN or GameSpot, like it's not that hard to. So what? You're a kid. You go to school. You get out from school. Look up some YouTube videos, and instead of getting it at midnight, 12 hours later, you know that the game works from a YouTube video, that they like it and they're having fun playing it, and you're set back 12 hours. No big deal. You don't have to play that game at fucking 1 a.m. when you get back from the video game store or when that game finishes downloading. It's not going to kill you to wait.
Which in this day and age of day one releases anyways, you're not playing it at 1 a.m.
No.
Even when you get home, you put the disc in and there's a goddamn 21 gigabyte update that takes 4 hours to do anyways.
Yeah, you're playing it at 6 a.m.
Yeah, you're still more than likely your parents are like knocking on your door going, go to bed, if you're
or
in
you're
that
going
household.
You're going back to school or work the next morning,
So
and then you have to sit through another day.
Yeah, and then you get on and the next day and it's like, oh, multiplayer doesn't work.
10 gig update to hopefully fix multiplayer.
So glad I pre-ordered this game for this poster and gave him my money up front when I could have just waited. Then when day one came around, I read the gaming news or watched videos online of reviewers and went, damn, I could have saved $60 on this game and bought it for $39.99 3 months later and on a price drop and got the same experience out of it. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
But anyway, does anyone else have anything they want to talk about before we wrap this week's episode up? Any other hot button topics?
Well, we already know there's
in this super rich week of gaming news. Anything? Anyone? All right. Well, from Route 9 Production, this has been episode number 7 of the Route 9 podcast. I am Sean, joined by
Tyler
and Brad.
Thanks for joining us this week. Take it easy, guys.